Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Girls Like Hoops podcast. I'm Tori. I hope you guys are having a great week. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm about a shot and a half in right now. The Golden State Warriors disappointed me tonight, okay? And I saw it coming, but I didn't want to believe it. I'm hurting right now. And then there were so many waves in the WNBA today, and I was trying to get this episode out like right before the season started, but like right after preseason, but after the waves happened, so I could, give you guys like the most up-to-date stuff. So the season's starting tomorrow. By the time you guys are listening to this, it's 2 a.m. on a Thursday, okay? I do have work later on, but we're going to push through because I love you. And because I love you, please support me, like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I would really love that if we could get there by like mid-June. That'd be great. I'm watching every single WNBA game, or like almost every single WNBA game. More on that later. So that you don't have to, we're going to talk about the stats. We're going to talk about things that I'm kind of seeing. And then I would love to hear like you guys' opinions and your thoughts. I always read the comments, even if I don't like respond immediately, or sometimes I don't have anything to say. But I always read the comments. I always read them. So if you have any thoughts and opinions, please share them. I don't really know what the poll question is going to be right now. There might not be any poll question because I'm so disgusted with some of these, coaches and front offices right now for some of the waves, and we're going to talk about those. But yes, please like and subscribe, get in the comments, share your opinions, do all of the things. If you want to, I have a TikTok where I'm way more active over there. Like these episodes are going to be out like every week, still deciding on like what days those are going to be. I put like every game in my calendar, and I know that for the most part, like a lot of the times, if there is a break during the week, it's usually coming on like a Monday or Tuesday. So I used to post the episodes on Fridays, so I kind of just need to feel out that situation, but there will be a new episode up every week. And if you want to know when those episodes are out, subscribe, of course, follow me on whatever listening to this on to stay up to date on new episodes, or you can also just follow me on Twitter, and I always let you know on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever you follow me outside of here, when a new episode is posted. So go and check that out. I also have my real-time analysis of the game and thoughts and decisions and, things that are happening around the WNBA world. I always put on Twitter, or sometimes I'll talk about on TikTok, and I usually do like different content throughout the WNBA season on TikTok. So if you want to know my thoughts on games and stuff like that, feel free to go over there and check out my other social media. Anyways, with that, let's get into the basketball. I'm first of all going to start by saying, what I did notice about the preseason is that there were some teams that played these games to, help them decide what they were going to cut their roster down to. Like, what do we need? What's working? What's not? And then there were other teams who were kind of just, they were doing preseason like it was going to be like an in-season game. And I think, to me, those are the teams that kind of separated what they're going to be doing this season in my mind. So I guess we're going to start with, and this is not even related to the preseason, the Connecticut Sun are exploring the sale of the team. It is likely that it will be moving from Mohegan in Connecticut, which honestly at this point might just be for the best, honestly. We've heard a lot of things about the facilities and how, they haven't really been prioritized over the years. So, I think that this would be good for them. They're kind of starting like a new, fresh thing. They don't have the team that they had last year. They have like 3 players from last year's team, and they don't even have the same coach. So if there's a time for the team to move and go somewhere new, I definitely think right now is the best time to do that, especially because, like I said, like, they're kind of getting into finding their identity. The new CBA is coming up, and so the team is going to be shifting again. And so I think that it would be best if they were able to, kind of sell it off at some point this season and then make that move over the off season. So yeah, that was honestly kind of shocking to me, just because I know the CBA was kind of going to be like, okay, everybody's going to have facilities, and they're going to have to like, really, y'all are going to have to start investing in the teams and stuff. And that was going to be like a big change. So it's very interesting that instead of, putting some money into the team, they've decided to get rid of the team as a whole. But you know what? Whatever works best for them. You know what I mean? Shout out to those people at Mohegan Sun. All right, we're going to get into the teams. We're going to start with the Wings because that was just like, to me, that's like kind of like the hot team that people are kind of wondering about, at least for me, in my circle. That's what people are worried about. They have a new coach. A lot of teams have a new coach. And if I get the names wrong this week, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to Google that. I just need to get this episode out at this point. You know what I'm saying? Just so I can build the habit. I can get the habit. I can get back into routine. So the Wings are being coached by Chris Koklanis. They made sure that I knew that his sister is going to be coaching beside him. Don't know why that was important to me, but they really wanted me to know. Anyways, for injuries, they don't really have any. So this is like one of the only teams that isn't, struggling through an injury right now. There have been a lot of ACL tears, and there's a lot of people who aren't playing, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But for the Wings, no injuries as of right now. I think Dejanay may have taken a hard fall during practice the other week, but she's fine. She played through the preseason games. At the time that I made this list, they had only waived Kiki Herbert-Harrigan, who was a part of a trade in the off season. And she was traded from Phoenix and then got waived here in Dallas, but also the Wings waived Mai Yamamoto, Madison Scott as well. And I think that was it for the most part for waives for the Wings. If I'm wrong, my apologies, but they have definitely significantly cut down that roster. And yeah, I think they're working with a decent amount of guards. Where I think the Wings are really going to struggle this season is with their center, just because they don't really have a reliable scoring big. And I think that that's just going to be the thing that takes them out of a lot of competitions. Is going to be a lot of heavy guard play. Anyways, during the first preseason game versus the Aces, the starting lineup was Dejanay Carrington, Melissa Smith, Tiara McCowan, Arika Gumbawale, and Paige Beckers. And I'm going to be really real with you. I didn't love the starting lineup. I would have Nalissa come off the bench, and then I would prefer to have Maddie Segrist starting, and I believe that was the lineup for the second game, which I definitely approved of. But yeah, starting lineup, that was the only thing I would change. They don't really have a big, for real, like I said. I think their problem is just that they're small. They have tall guards and they have some decent forwards, average size forwards, but when it comes to having a center in the paint, but unfortunately I just don't think that Tiara McCowan or Maisha Hines-Allen is really gonna be game changing bigs, and that's no shade to them. I think last season just maybe, I will start by saying this. If I do say something, I would prefer that these players prove me wrong. But, as of what I'm seeing right now, I'm not that impressed with their bigs. I think a big that would be very helpful for them maybe next season would be Bree Jones. I don't really know how long her contract was signed for, but if I'm recalling correctly, most people have signed a 1-year contract. So I definitely think in the offseason next year, they should be on the hunt for maybe getting a center from overseas, an established center or something, I don't know. Or they should think about drafting a center next year, or, they should definitely be looking at, trying to sign a Bree Jones caliber player who's somebody who can get up the floor in transition and can also score and can rebound the ball well. But yeah, I think the team's just kind of small this year, and I don't think that they're going to be a terrible team or anything. I think they're going to figure out a way to win sometimes, but it's not going to be anything crazy, and I don't really want people to get their hopes up, honestly. Paige had a really great showing in the first game. She had 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. I think the thing that she's really just bringing over from college is just being extremely efficient. Obviously there are some things that she has to, work through. Her and Jackie Young, that was a hard screen she hit that day. But yeah, outside of that, I liked her play so far. I think, again, I just like that she's staying true to being efficient. And honestly, like, there's not really much to say here. They got beat on the boards by the Aces 28-40. But again, it comes down to who do you have to stop Asia Wilson? Nobody's stopping Asia Wilson in the league. Like, there's literally nobody who's stopping Asia Wilson from doing what she does. And then, you have Kia Stokes, who is going to go and get you some boards. Even if she doesn't always, like, if she's not always like impactful offensively, she's always going to do that, get rebounds, whether it's offensive or defensive, and she's, going to box out and stuff like that. So I think, to me, if it's going to come down to anything, the bigs are going to have to be at their best. They're going to have to score, and also the guards are going to have to box out. They're going to have to rebound. Like, it's going to have to be everybody's mission to get the ball, after it goes up for a shot. If it misses, y'all going to have to box out and get there. So that's really it for me for that. I did like JJ Quinterly. I hope I pronounced that name right. She looked really great this game. She came off the bench and played some really great minutes. I think she had I don't remember how many points she had, but I liked her motor and her hustle. She was very efficient as well. I think she was 7 of 10 from the field, or was it 7 of 12? I don't really remember the exact number, but she did well. Maddie Siegrist also came in the game off the bench, and she played really well. I liked her minutes. But yeah, the problems that they had were definitely fouling. They turned the ball over 19 times. The Aces had 14 steals on them. So I think just taking care of the ball and rebounding and staying out of foul trouble is going to be mainly the things that, they need to work on this year. I definitely have to take back my thoughts on where I thought they would be positioned this season. Don't really know what I was thinking when I came up with that list. I think I was just excited. I wasn't really thinking about the draft classes, and I wasn't really thinking about the coaching and how those are going to evolve, because a lot of these teams, despite them making some big moves, I'm not really super impressed with a bunch of the teams, if I'm being honest. But anyways, I think they had an exhibition game, and then I think did they have a second game? I don't remember who they played the second time. Was I paying attention? I don't think I was paying attention. Anyways, next up we have the Aces. Injuries, Megan Gustafson, she has a lower leg injury and she's out indefinitely. And then also Cheyenne Parker-Tyus, who they signed during free agency, is pregnant, so she probably won't be with them for at least minimum the next 3 months. For waives, they waived Queen Egbo and Harmony Turner, Deja Kelly. And Deja Kelly had she had a pretty decent first game, and then she had a really good second game. I know a lot of people are very upset about the waves. I'm upset about some of the waves. But with Deja Kelly, I think I was kind of prepared for her to get waived, just because the creator I go live with, Justice, who I've plugged before, of course. But she definitely said, it's going to be they only have 2 spots. And it was going to be Aaliyah Nye for sure, because Becky had definitely talked up her game. And also she had 17 points that first game as well. It was 5 of 8 from 3. And they definitely need a shooter after losing Kelsey. And I think that Aaliyah Nye is going to be a really good piece off the bench, who's always going to, come in, play the game right, and give us good points, good minutes. Jackie looked really great. She gave you 28 points, 9 assists, 5 boards that first game. She went to the free throw line and shot 13 free throws. She was very aggressive from the start, and I think she's definitely looking at her best. I think the Aces, last year, you could kind of tell that, they had gone back to back and they weren't really looking as fresh. Asia looked amazing, of course, but it was kind of just Chelsea was going through the injury with her foot, and then Jackie was kind of, injured here and there throughout the season, and Kelsey just kind of hasn't really been on in the past 2 seasons. She has some good games, good spurts here and there, but nothing has been super consistent lately. But again, I'm a big Kelsey Plum fan, so I'm never going to do too much. But yeah, I think I like the way the team's looking. I think Jewel Lloyd was I think she had 11 points maybe, or was it 8? I don't really remember what the stat was. I don't really remember. But, they looked pretty decent in their game versus Dallas, but I don't think that Dallas is a crazy talented team. So I don't really know. And then the second game they played with the Mercury, I felt like that one got a little too close for comfort, but Deja Kelly, was able to come off the bench and kind of give them big minutes. And I think that, again, this is like one of those things where like the Aces played a lot of their like core for a lot of their preseason games or a lot of the minutes. And then like I think the second game, she kind of let the bench play a little bit more to kind of decide who she's going to cut and who she wanted to keep. But again, I think this is kind of like, that's kind of one of those things that separates some teams from others. Like some are just like playing the preseason for, the roster, seeing what they can put together, and others are in preparation, kind of seeing what schemes and what rotations and what lineups they like together, what works, what doesn't. Which is kind of the same as seeing who's going to fit in the roster, but a little bit different just because I feel like the Aces and then also the Fever kind of played people who are going to be, really getting heavier minutes a little bit longer during the preseason games. Whereas, teams like the Mystics or Dallas, or I can't even think of any other teams right now, but like, they kind of played their bench a little bit to kind of, see what the vibe is. So next we'll talk about the Mystics. They're being coached by Coach Sydney Johnson. I don't know that man. I low-key kind of feel a little bad for him just because I feel like Georgia Amore, who is somebody who's injured, she has, she tore her ACL, or actually, I don't know if she tore it or ruptured it. I don't know like exactly, but we know she's going to be out for the season, which is super unfortunate. I was personally really excited to watch Georgia Amore, and I know she's been doing a lot of work with Dog Class with Kelsey Plum, and then she looked pretty good with Kentucky, and then she was always like kind of one of the more top draft picks in the draft this year. So, she got drafted with Kiki Ariafin and Sonia Citron. So I was really excited to see them just because last season the Mystics really struggled. And so I was excited at the idea that, they would be bringing in these younger players and kind of, letting them get experience and kind of fill things out. And then, maybe just build around that and kind of just, I was excited for it personally. And so to have Georgia go down really sucked, honestly. And then Aaliyah Edwards is also out with the back injury, and they said she'll miss a few games of the season, I guess. So hopefully she returns soon, but I know that back injuries, sometimes they can be lingering. Kalia Copper is also struggling with a back injury as well right now. So I don't know. This is going to be really interesting. All right. So the Mystics waived Zay Green, Khadijah Cave. I hope I'm saying these names right. Aston, I don't know how to pronounce that one. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to mess that up. I'm not even going to do that to you. And Lauren Jensen were waived by the Mystics. Again, this is just like really unfortunate because I was so excited to see like what they look like. And I felt like I was also excited because Steph Dolson is like a good like stretch five. So I was just excited to see, what that young team kind of looked like with the leadership and the vet experience of Steph Dolson. And then also Brittany Sykes is a great piece as well. But this team has changed like so much over the past few seasons. They've got rid of a lot of their pieces, whether it was from like trades at close to the deadline last season with Maisha Hines-Allen, or even just like players going down like Dee Richards. Or Dee Richardson. I don't if I mess up that name, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I really liked Dee last year, but she went down with a pretty bad injury. And yeah, and then Shakira Austin is also hurt, I believe. And that's another player who looked pretty good and unrivaled and then is kind of just struggling with injuries a lot since he got drafted. So I'm interested to see what everything looks like. But as for the preseason game versus the Fever, I really liked them. They had some great hustle. The Mystics looks good here. I felt like but they only looked good there because Caitlin wasn't on the floor. And then that's a whole other conversation that we'll get to later. But they need a point guard, and that's very obvious. Like, I think that Brittany Sykes is somebody who can go and get you a bucket when you need them to, and is also somebody who can facilitate. But losing Shatori Walker-Kimbrough, who definitely gave like the offense some life, also losing Ariel Atkins, losing Julie Van Lowe in the expansion draft. It's just there's a lot going right now, and those are kind of two players who could facilitate and kind of take some of that pressure off of Brittany Sykes. So they needed Georgia Amore, and unfortunately they just don't have her. So they have Sug Sutton as their backup point guard, And if I'm being really honest, I didn't really love how that looked. I think that maybe they should try to pick up Ari McDonald. She just got waived by the Sparks, which is really upsetting to me because I really enjoyed Ari McDonald last year. She's a good perimeter defender. And also she's just a good facilitator and also somebody who can go and get you a bucket. So I think that would be a really good backup point guard, or maybe even just like a backup scoring guard. Regardless, I think like that would be a really good move for them. There's also some other people have been waived. Serena Sundell has been waived. So, I'm just, they need something. I don't really like know exactly who they need. I think that like some of these teams have very opposite problems. Like Dallas is good with guards, and then the Mystics are good like in the post in the 4 or 5 3 position, but where they're kind of gonna struggle a little bit is guards. And Sonia Citron had a really great game like versus the Fever, and obviously she's just gonna progress as the time goes. But they really did need like a facilitator, and hopefully Georgia's able to get her surgery and heal up, and then next season she's able to do something. But as of right now, that was just really unfortunate. Hate that for her, but hoping for a speedy recovery for her and Aaliyah Edwards and Shakira Austin, just because like this is a team that really kind of needs time on the floor together. So that way, they can start competing for something eventually. Like it definitely probably won't be like in the next 2-3 years, but I would really love for like in the next year for them to look a bit better than they did last season. And kind of right now it's looking like they're about to be giving the same exact vibe. Like super gritty team. They might sneak up on you every now and then, but like they're not going to do anything crazy. Again, I like Jade Melvin. I just don't know if she's a point guard or if she's a facilitator. I think she's definitely somebody who can go and get you a bucket if she needs to. And she's somebody who's very fast, like quick first step. But it's also like they really need a facilitator right now. So I'm interested to see what they decide to do there, whether it's sign somebody else or maybe just, kind of just plug the hole as the season goes and kind of just hope for the best there. But that was a really big loss for them. I thought the team's also pretty turnover prone as well, which, to be fair, they only had like 23 to the Fever's 18, but it's not great. You got to take care of the ball. And again, that comes down to just having ball handlers and everything. Sometimes they have like some of their passes were a little lackadaisical, I guess you could say. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. And then they had the preseason game versus the Dream, and their game versus the Dream was kind of where I was like, okay, yeah, this team probably not really going to do anything. And that's okay because that's a young team. But I think definitely versus more experienced teams, like that's definitely a team where it's going to be hard to stop them because they have Brittany Griner and they have Bree Jones, and then they have like guards that can really get past you. So the defense has to be great from everybody, and you have to take care of the ball. So I'm interested to see what they look like throughout the season. Again, they're going to be like a young, scrappy team. Don't really know if I'll be watching every single game from them, but I'll be trying my best. Next up, we have the Fever, who are being coached by Stephanie White. The people they've waived are Bree Hall, Jaylen Brown, and maybe they waived somebody else. I don't really recall. I made this list last night, and so many things have transpired since then. But their first preseason game versus the Mystics, they won it. It was really close though. I think they won it by like maybe 2 or 3 points. But without Caitlin, this team will struggle. The hope is that they won't see many games without Caitlin. Stephanie White has come out and said that she's not going to play her as many minutes as she played last season, which I think is obviously a good choice. I really don't like the idea of any star playing like the full game unless it's like the playoffs. I just don't think that that's necessary. It's not really helpful like longevity wise and with the injuries and everything. So I think that's a good decision. Sophie Cunningham, I made a podcast episode like maybe a month or two ago, and I talked about like way too early WNBA seedings. And I've always thought Sophie Cunningham is a good defensive player. She's somebody who can guard the 1 through 4. They used to say the 1 through 5, so I don't know who's lying and who's not. Regardless, this first game she gave you 21 points and 8 rebounds. I think the defense is just something that the Fever definitely struggled with last year, and it's something that's an emphasis that Stephanie White is trying to focus on this season. And I think that that's a great idea. Like, obviously, it's really cool to be able to shoot well and all of the things, but if you can't get a stop on the other end, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, not to be super cliche, but defenses oftentimes do win championships. Like, if you're going shot for shot, that doesn't even make sense. You kind of need somebody to, you kind of need to go back and forth with it. But Sophie Cunningham really played well this game. She got to the free throw line. She shot fairly efficiently. And again, she's just somebody who hustles, who plays hard, doesn't give up on plays, never takes a play off either. So that's the kind of energy that I think that this Fever defense needs. I definitely, I do think that she should be starting. I don't really remember what the starting lineup was. I think the starting lineup for this game was different just because Caitlin wasn't there. For this game, I believe they started Aaliyah Boston, Natasha Howard, Kelsey Mitchell, Sydney Colson, and DeWanna Bonner. Yeah, and I kind of said this last year a little bit. I think DeWanna Bonner I don't know if she's a starter on this team. I think Sophie Cunningham would be a good starter. I don't know. I think people are kind of expecting DeWanna Bonner to come in and really like shoot lights out. And I don't really know if that's always going to be like, if that's always going to be something that we can expect from her. Obviously, again, when I say these things, like, I want them to prove me wrong. I don't want to be right about that. But last season, shooting was kind of here and there. Like, some games, like, she was really on fire, and other games she wasn't, which that's the nature of the game. Like, sometimes you're on, sometimes you're off, so it's whatever. But yeah, I think Sophie Cunningham should maybe start over DeWanna Bonner, and I think that was the decision that was made in the second preseason game. I don't really recall, but yeah, nobody really had a crazy game that first game. Lexi had like 13 points. She wasn't very efficient. She was good. She was definitely better in the second preseason game versus the Dream. But again, to me, I think that Lexi plays better, shoots better when she doesn't have to defer to other people. She's another one of those players who kind of knows her role and won't really overstep, like, what she's being asked to do. So, like, if she's asked to go out there and play defense, she's going to do that. And if she's asked to go out there, play defense, and, swing the ball to Kelsey or to Caitlin, like, she's going to go out there and do that. So, but in that second game, when she was given the opportunity and there wasn't any other shooters on the floor, she shot well and was effective and was efficient and played great defense. Lexi also was somebody who hustles and gives you like a lot on the defensive end and gives you a lot of energy. It's more so just about knocking down the shots as well. But I would love to see her excel this season in that regard and in that area. Again, it's just going to be about, if she's on or if she's not, and also maybe trying not to force it. I think also this first preseason game, Kelsey Mitchell struggled, which is not typically something that will happen. I think which is an off game, and also without Caitlin there's not really like that gravity that kind of distracts from Kelsey being a really great offensive player. So yeah, but the next night, I think with the Dream, she played really well, so I don't think that's going to really be a struggle. And then during the exhibition game, the starters also shot better, but again, it's tough to really be like, oh, like they really found their group because it was an exhibition game, so it's, but yeah, I think the team looks pretty decent. Natasha Howard, I felt like she's been kind of pressing a little bit, and I think like, if she kind of slows it down a little bit and kind of lets the game come to her, we can see like a bit more efficiency from her. But I think Natasha Howard has always kind of been more of a volume shooter, and I don't know if that's going to change a little bit as the season goes. As for Aaliyah Boston, I think we're just really going to need a lot from her this season, and obviously I do believe that she's somebody who's capable of stepping up to the plate on that one. But also, if she doesn't that's kind of gonna be telling of what this team's gonna do this season. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Next up, we have the Sun, who are being coached by girl Coach Mezion. Girl, we gonna figure it out this season. I'm sorry if I messed it up. I don't even wanna. I'm gonna put it on the screen if you're watching visually. If you're listening, it don't even really matter like that. Anyways, I'm gonna figure it out as the season goes. As for injuries, they're not really. Well, actually, they are. They have some injuries. They had a lot of injuries. Actually, a lot of people who did not play. In the preseason, some people were out for personal reasons, and then other people were out with like some other injuries. I think Anissa Morrow is somebody who's out with an injury she played through during the NCAA tournament. So there's that. As for waves, I believe the Sun waived a lot of people today, and I'm gonna be honest, I really don't even know a lot of the people that they waived, so I'm not even gonna get into that right now. Caitlin Bickle was one of the people waived, and then there's somebody here who has a last name that I'm not even gonna attempt to say because I don't want to be disrespectful, so I'm not even gonna say that one. But anyways, I didn't pay attention to too many of their preseason games just because in my mind, I'm not a believer in this team. Tina Charles is there, and Tina Charles is definitely going to. And I will say this: the Sun, I just heard on Twitter, they sold out home ticket sale, so that's great for them. Tina Charles came back. She was drafted there. It is likely that she stays there for this season. Maybe retires there. I don't really know what the vibe is, but she's playing well. And for the most part, I'm pretty sure that's who the offense is going to be running through. Tina Charles is a bucket. Nobody can really stop her. She's a skilled big. Marina Mabrey had a really great game. I don't think she played in the first preseason game, but she played in the second preseason and she looked really good. JC Sheldon had a great game her second game. I don't think she really did much the first game. I don't really remember her first name. I only have her last name here, but Diaby, I think she might be like a backup 5. She was good to me. But yeah, I don't really expect much from the Sun. They don't really have players that we know for real. This is just going to be one of those teams that's going to have to grit it out. And again, I think it's going to be great for them to move locations, get a little bit more investment in the team, and then hopefully with the CBA happening, they're able to maybe get some stars there. But as of right now, the Sun will be doing not too much. I'm not going to hate watch them because I really do like JC Sheldon, and I'm sick to my stomach that she got traded from Dallas. But at the same time, had she stayed in Dallas, I don't really know if she would have made the roster. So I think that this was a really good move for her. She can kind of prove, her worth, and maybe, after her rookie contract's over, she's able to get something else with a different team. So yeah, I'm excited. I really like JC, so I'm excited to kind of see her maybe run the point, and I know she's going to get a lot of minutes because there ain't really nobody on this roster for real. We got to be serious. But yeah, I'm excited for JC. I'm excited for, see what Tina does, see what Marina's able to do with Tina. And this team, they're going to struggle. They will. Next up, we have the Storm. They only played one preseason game. As for injuries, Katie Lou Samuelson has a torn ACL, so she will be out for the season. Obviously, Nika also has, I think it was an ACL. It wasn't an MCL. I don't remember Nika's injury, but it was from back in the summer. She won't be playing this season. Jordan Horston also has an injury. I believe it's also an ACL, or it might be something else. I'm pretty sure it's an ACL. I don't really recall, but it doesn't really matter. She will not be with the team either this season. And then they waived Serena Sundale, who a lot of people I know wanted in the league. They waived Mackenzie Holmes and Brianna Frazier. I didn't really watch this preseason game. They played the Sun. I went to go visit my grandma that day, so I didn't really see this one. But at the beginning, and I did look at the stats, and I watched the highlights as well. This was a great game for Nneka. I believe she had like 18 points, and I don't really remember the rest of her stats, but she had a really great game defensively, and really just a great game on both ends of the floor. I like Lee Yaroo. I liked her in LA with the Sparks. I think her holding down like the 5 and playing that along with Ezzy. I think last year, Ezzy didn't really have a backup, and I think what I'm liking a little bit more about this Storm team is that they have a little bit more experienced people on the roster, so they're going to be able to rest their starters. They have Dominique Malonga coming in, and I saw a couple of clips of the scrimmage versus the Sparks, and she did really well. So I think that's going to be a really great like backup for Gabby Williams, or maybe she starts. I don't really know what their vibe is. I don't think she's going to start at first. But they had Katie Lou Samuelson coming in, but she won't be joining for the season. They have Alicia Clark, who's an amazing 3-and-D player, and I think she's looked honestly the best that she's looked in the past like year. I don't think that she looked that great last season, but I think it was kind of just time for a change with the Aces. They did what they could with the roster that they had, and won those 2 championships. And it's you can only run it back so many times with the people that you have, and sometimes you have to start something new. So Alicia Clark looked good with the Storm the other, like, from the highlights that I saw. They have Lexi Brown, who's a good shooter, who makes some good passes when necessary. Zaya Cook also is joining the team. As I said, Leah Rue I liked in LA. She gets to the free throw line well. She's a scoring big, and I think she's going to be really great, especially again, playing with Ezzy. Like, Ezzy's so great, and I think again, Ezzy being able to come off the floor, take a rest, and not always have to, play those heavy minutes like they did last year. I think that that's my other thing that's really big about the Storm is again, you can kind of tell like the difference between like teams that are really contending and teams that might not, that are kind of going to be in the playoffs, but might not be doing much or might not even make the playoffs at all. And this is one of those teams. They have a lot of, they have some good pieces here that could definitely win something. So I think it could be good. Skylar Diggins obviously is going to do what she does. She always goes out there and plays hard, makes the right decisions. So yeah, I'm excited for the Storm. Gabby Williams is here early on in the season. It's not like she's going to be joining later on in the season, which again, I have no problem with because, there are other leagues that are paying them more. So I can understand the WNBA not being somebody's priority. But yeah, she's here for the season and she's ready to play. And I think that that's going to be way easier for her to kind of like for them to make a real like playoff and finals push because she's going to be here. It's not like she's just joining in and kind of, trying to find where she fits. Like now she can kind of carve out her own space early on in the season and then they can go from there. So I'm excited to see what the Storm look like. They're a very exciting team to me. I liked their defense last year. And, I honestly had them going a little bit deeper than they did. Unfortunately, Dorka Juhas will not be joining the Lynx this season for personal reasons. I read an article, though, and it's really just because she's been playing, like, basketball nonstop since college. I think she played with Ohio State and then played with UConn and then was drafted, and she actually, like, played a decent amount during her rookie season. So and then she goes and plays overseas, like I think in Italy, or I don't know if she plays for the Hungarian team, some situation, but she plays overseas a lot. And so, she has been playing basketball all year for years. So I think it's definitely very valid and everything. So, obviously we wish her the best and I hope that, she's able to come back at some time afterwards and, maybe able to contribute to a chip or something like that. But yeah, the Lynx, they have a lot going on. They waived Grace Berger earlier today as well, who was a player that I think Cheryl Reeve said she liked. But in the preseason games, I think the first preseason game versus the Sky, they lost that one. I didn't really watch that one a ton. But Haley Van Lith had a really great game versus them, and we'll talk about that later, I guess. But the second game, definitely they were both close. But the Lynx were able to pull out that win. So far, I think the first game, Nafisa didn't really have a great game offensively. But what I did like about the second game was that Nafisa had a better game. But also, I liked that Bridget Carlton wasn't as hesitant as I've seen before, like to kind of take shots. And I think that's going to be definitely very important, especially because Kayla McBride isn't back playing with the team yet. Like right now she's out for personal reasons, getting rest because she's played a lot of basketball over the past few months with, going into the finals and then going and playing an Unrivaled. And then I think she went and joined her Euro League basketball team as well. And then, the season starts up like right after the Euro League is done. So she's been taking some time and she's definitely a big part of that offense. So we're working with what we got, but I did like that they were able to, get that one out without her. Courtney Williams played pretty well. Again, I think it's more just about being able to go and get that shot when you need it, and that kind of being the overall concern that I have for the Lynx. Obviously, their defense is really great. I think they have a very, their system of, how they play is very much just about ball movement, playing through Nafisa, of course, and then obviously, getting Kayla McBride her points, getting shots for the guards, and then just playing really great defense, getting stops and everything. And everybody buys into defense, so that's something that I really love about the team. And I did like a lot of their rookies. I liked Badian. I thought she looked good. I liked I think they got a rookie from Russia, or they drafted someone from Russia or something like that. I liked her. And then I think there's someone, Jessica Shepard. She looked good. She was playing for Atlanta Smith because she was out with an injury. So we haven't really seen Atlanta Smith play either yet. And then they have Carly Samuelson as well. So I'm interested to see, there's a lot of older pieces as well. You have Diamond Miller. She looks great. She's gone through a couple of injuries over the past few years. So to kind of see her playing and being aggressive, attacking the rim, and also, taking some outside shots, that's great. Alyssa Peely has also played well, and I think she's definitely gotten better on defense, and she's trusting her shot more. So I'm interested to see how Cheryl's going to use those younger pieces, but I'm also just, again, I always believe in their defense. It's going to be about their offense, which was more so the issue during their finals push last year. So I'm interested to see what they're able to do. And I hope Kayla McBride's able to join them soon. But yeah, as of right now, I like the Lynx, and they look pretty good. I like them. I think they're going to obviously be kind of an underdog team again, like they were last season. I'm hoping that's the hope. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes, and I'm excited to watch them because I'm a big fan. So yeah, good luck out there, y'all. Anyways, next up we have the Sky, who are being coached by Tyler Marsh. They don't really have any injuries. Congrats to them. Actually, Courtney Vandersloot she's a little banged up right now. But as for waives, they waived Morgan Birch, Jessica Carter, and then they have I don't know how to pronounce this name, but somebody that they drafted this year is going to be remaining overseas. And I know some people were pretty upset about that, but that's just the name of the game. Their first game was an exhibition, I believe. Again, I got bored after the first quarter. Any exhibition games I didn't watch because I was like, there's not really a point in doing that. But Sloop looked good, early facilitating to the bigs in the paint. Obviously, everybody said before, the Sparks, I still can't believe people let them get Angel Reese and Camila Cardozo. When you think about that, that's really crazy, because I think as the years go on, they're just going to become more and more skilled, and they're going to be very tough to stop. And I'm excited to see that develop. But I think obviously what they needed last year was just better shooting around them, and also guards that were going to pass to the people in the paint. And Camilla has already said in other interviews and stuff throughout the preseason that her time in China has really helped her elevate her game and kind of work on some things where she had some holes in her game. So I'm excited to see, what she looks like. Obviously, Angel has worked a lot, obviously is always going to rebound well, but I think we're kind of starting to see a different level of her play just from Unrivaled. But I think Tyler Marsh is also very interested in developing more of her, kind of just allowing her to shine in other elements of her game and figuring out ways to do that within, the context of winning for the team. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited about it. It might look very different from the version of her game that we've seen previously, but honestly, I'm okay with that. I think it's very important, especially early on, to kind of develop all parts of your game if you're able to do that. And I think she's definitely one of those players who can do a lot of things on the court if, the right time and care is given to her to do that. And so I think Taylor Marsh is going to be a great coach to kind of pull that out of her. So I'm excited for that. Haley Van Lith looked great. She's played good defense in those preseason games versus the Lynx. And then she had a really great game that first preseason game versus them. So she came up big. But if I recall correctly, she was the big reason that they won the game. So that's good. And I know that she was kind of going through, a thing after, transferring LSU and everything like that and kind of figuring out things. So I'm excited to see her excel. And she's also stated in her interviews as well that, she's excited to be learning from Sloot. And yeah, I think the Sky looked pretty decent. I think it's really I think some people have been a little questionable. Like they're kind of questioning the vets on the team about their consistency shooting wise. And I think that's fair. That's valid. People are always going to have questions. I think Sky fans just, they're really ready to win something. Like they're ready to have a reliable team put together after the Candace Parker win. So, very valid to kind of question some things. But I think Taylor Marsh is definitely the right coach to be coaching this young team and is going to be able to develop them into something really great. And I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say. Oh, yeah. As long as the vets can be, or like the guards that they have, on the perimeter and everything, I think as long as, they just keep up with playing the game the right way, passing to the bigs, and then also just shooting and being consistent with it, I think that the Sky team is actually going to be very good. So I'm excited to see them play and how they develop over the season. Next up, we have the Sparks, who are being coached by Lynn Roberts. I don't really have any notes on them. I just needed to say one thing after their game versus the Valkyrie. I don't know what the hell y'all have going on, but you need to get it together, okay? I put y'all up high on my little list, and I saw y'all playing. I was like, damn, a mess. They waived Ari McDonald, who to me was a really great point guard. So I'm kind of sad to see them move away from her. They waived some other players as well, I believe. I'm not going to go searching and diving for that, but they waived some players. I think they might have an issue offensively. That was more of the redder flag for me during that Valkyrie matchup, just because the Sparks should have easily gotten that over them and they didn't. So I'm a little concerned for them. I don't know. I like Ray Burrell a lot. I liked her in Unrivaled. Like you guys know, I've talked about her. I think she's great. I've talked about her last season. I liked her off the bench. I don't know if I think she should be starting right now. I don't really know if she's ready for that yet. I think maybe she'll prove me wrong and maybe, she'll get hot as the season goes on. I don't really know, but I think that it might be better that she come off the bench. I just think that, her being a spark off the bench, that's a little bit better. It's less pressure to be great off rip, and I don't really know if starting is really the answer right now. But again, I would love to be proven wrong. But I don't really have too much to say about the Sparks. I wasn't too impressed with the preseason game. Again, we take it with a grain of salt. Anything can happen. There's a lot of games to play, and maybe, they figure some things out, but waiving Ari McDonald and losing some Stephanie Talbot last season, losing Leah Rue, losing Lexi Brown, I'm not super sold on it. This team is going to be very young. You have Dearica Hamby and you have Kelsey Plum and you have Rakia Jackson, and they're obviously going to lean on Rakia a lot. They're going to lean on Dearica a lot, but there's a lot of work to be done there. So they're much lower on my list, seeing what I've seen now. Okay. Next up, we have the Valkyries. The Valkyries really pissed me off. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was honestly starting to defend them because I feel like people were being really hard on them after the whole Cheyenne Sellers thing. And I was trying to be lenient with them because I was like, maybe they saw something we didn't see, and then she got picked up by the Dream. And I was like, you know what, this is great. And people are mostly mad that they didn't give her the opportunity to play in a game, which is understandable. However, after we saw her play with the Dream, she was very hesitant. I'm not going to go and say that she's not at 100% health, but I don't really know if she looked at her best. And a lot of people who have watched her game over the few years that she was in college, they kind of said she doesn't look like herself. And so I think that if she takes some time off and maybe goes and plays overseas, gets healthy, there's definitely an opportunity for her to do something in this league. I think it was just like an unfortunate turn of events and everything with everything that happened. But yeah, that was a lot. And then the Dream waived her, I think the other day. So that was again an unfortunate break. And then we have the Valkyrie waiving. They waived like 4 people, I think. And amongst those were Letitia Amihir, who is somebody who put up 20 points in the preseason game, is the reason that they won the game. Okay. They waived her and that pissed me off. Cause at that point, why even go pick her off of waivers if you were just gonna, and then I'm hearing that, oh, well, maybe it was because they didn't want to have to pay her and it was something about the contracts and blah, 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 blah. Again, why pick her up? Why even do that? Why let her put up 20 and this is what you do? I don't like that. The Valkyrie, and again, with Cheyenne Sells, I was hoping that it was a one-off thing because I want to support the Golden State Valkyries. Like, I want to support the Bay Area basketball always. But, like, that doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't like the way that they're moving over there. And then the excuse being it's a fit thing. So what's the fit? You just don't want people, you don't want to win? Is that what it is? Because there was another player, I don't know how to pronounce her first name, but Teray, she played amazing in their second preseason game versus the Phoenix Mercury. And she was shooting. She was lighting them up. I think she had like 18, 19 points. And you waive her as well. And then people are saying, well, it's because they gave her the option of like, if she's going to play in France or she's going to play here. I don't give a damn about that. Do you want to win or not? And here's the thing. People telling me, well, it's because of the tank. I'm sorry. I understand like the tanking. I get it. But like, tank for what? We saw the Sparks struggle last season, and I don't even know if they were trying to tank. I don't know what the vision was there. Regardless, everybody's thinking they're getting the number 1 pick, and they go and do the draft lottery, and they don't get it. The Dallas Wings get it. The Dallas Wings did struggle last year, but the Sparks, they were, if I recall correctly, the Sparks were like, they were low, like ooh, girl, and the Sparks didn't get. So like, it's just like, you can tank and then not get what you're tanking for. So it's like, I don't really know if I believe that is even like, that's even a reliable strategy. At that point, you might as well just get some talented people and hope for and try to put something together and hope for the best. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm really disappointed. I'm really, really, really disappointed. And honestly, not even like respectfully, it's fuck the Valkyrie. Like, actually, because I don't know what y'all are doing, and I don't respect teams tanking. I don't respect any team that tanks. Like, some people, they can't help it. Like the Sun, they can't help that. The Mystics, they can't help that. They played with injury. They can't help it. But this right here, y'all had the opportunity to maybe have like 2 good players on the team, and you didn't choose that option. And I don't like that. Like, that's some loser behavior. I don't like it. So the Valkyrie, I had said on TikTok, I was happy. This was before the waves happened. I was like, I like the team. They're gritty, and easily I think that they could be a team that maybe you go out there and a team plays them and they kind of, they think, oh, like, it's just the Valkyrie. Like, they're just a starter team. Like, they're nothing to take seriously. I was like, they might get out there and out hustle you. And the players you waive were the ones that were playing well and out hustling. So I don't really know what y'all got going on, but you will not be backed by me. Know that. I will be hate watching if I watch at all. Anyways, next up we have the Phoenix Mercury. I already told you guys about how I feel about the situation. First of all, we don't really know nobody on that roster. No shade. No shade. I done told y'all, I think the girl dad coach done went and told us that he wants people shooting threes. He was talking about Satu. I want her shooting threes. I don't know what that man is smoking, but he needs to give me some. Because I don't know if he's aware of the roster. And here's the thing. When they played the Aces, they were shooting pretty decently. But like, what are the odds that that's happening every night? They're not likely. They're not likely. I don't know how you have a player like Satu and you're like, yeah, I want her shooting. That's not necessarily her area of expertise that we've seen over the previous seasons. You know, maybe that season with Dallas, like in 2023, I believe the year was, she had a great year. But since then, we haven't really seen that version yet. You know, in Unrivaled, she struggled with the shooting the threes. You know, I would prefer, and Lisa Leslie said this herself, I would prefer she go back to the basket, work on the post play, work in the paint. But the coach, there's something not working here. There's something not working, and I don't know. I don't think that he understands that he doesn't necessarily have the personnel for this scheme that he has in his mind. And Kalia Copper, she's struggling with a back injury, and she's been struggling with this injury since Unrivaled. And the thing is that if we're gonna put our faith and our weight behind Kalia Copper, she has to be perfect every night. She has to give you 30 every night. And she's capable of doing that, but the amount of pressure on her because you want to jack up threes is insane. It's insane. And Satu, again, this is somebody who could work in the post on certain matchups. There's a lot going against this team right now. And this scheme, it's not in their favor. It's not. And I like Alyssa Thomas, great vet, can facilitate well, can get to the free throw line, can body up an opponent, plays great defense. But she's not giving you 20 a night. I'm sorry. At least we haven't seen that. But I don't think that we need to see that. The Labrams, we don't need to see that. Okay? AT has no business giving us 20. She's put in her years. She has no business doing that, and that's okay. It needs to be on Satu. It needs to be on Kalia Copper. It needs to be on whatever young person you decide to put your faith in. It doesn't need to be AT giving me 20 a night, because she's not. She gonna give you 10, 10, and 10 maybe. But she might give you 10, 10, and 8. She might give you 8, 10, and 7 sometimes. We don't need to be putting all that on her. Don't put the weight of that on her shoulders. That's not good. Now, Celeste Taylor, I will say, she gave you some good minutes, okay? Good defense. She's going to have to be 3 and D. I think she has the roster spot because she's been there before. But I'm concerned about that Mercury team. And if I'm honest, I've been in a lot of TikTok live spaces, and people are putting the Mercury up pretty high. And the thing is I don't know if we've been seeing the same things from these people. I don't know if we're watching the same games. Okay? We must be watching different basketball games. Again, I want them to prove me wrong. But as of right now, I'm not buying what they're selling. Next up, we have the Dream. Injuries, Jordan Canada. She's out with the knee for 2 weeks. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this is a sad, okay? Because Jordan Canada, she proved why she needs to be on that court in Unrivaled. She did. But at the same time, if Jordan Canada doesn't go down with that knee, Tahina Pow doesn't get the opportunity to shine. Now, again, you never want to see a player go down, but if there's like one thing that like you want to be able to prove during those preseason games, it's that you're valuable. And Tahina Pow proved that. She played well. I liked the Dream. I was wondering if they were going to be starting BG or Brittany Griner at the 5, and they're starting both of them. And at first I was a little concerned about that, but Bree Jones gets up the floor well in transition. And again, she's a scoring big, so there's no problem there. BG also is a great scorer. And yeah, I like what they have going there. I think that the dream is really going to come down to how great the guards are. And if I'm going to be really honest, again, I want them to prove me wrong. Last season and the beginning of the preseason, again, the preseason is a grain of salt. However, I haven't been super duper impressed with Ryan Howard offensively when it comes to efficiency. I haven't been super impressed with Alicia Gray when it comes to efficiency on the offensive end. I think both of them play really great defense, and they have moments when they look amazing on offense. But it has to be about that consistency, and it is so great and so cool if BG and Brittany, not BG and Brittany, it's so great and so cool if BG and Bree Jones can give you, some points in the paint. But the guards, y'all are going to have to shoot well. And I don't know. I don't know right now. I don't know. I like Maya Caldwell. I liked her last year. So I'm interested to see what she gives them. They waived Haley Jones, which is pretty upsetting to me. Okay. Now, I did have somebody come underneath my tweet when I was trash talking the dream and tell me that she didn't fit into the system, and that's fine. However, I just didn't like that. I didn't like that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Haley Jones has been this amazing revolutionary offensive player, but I am pretty upset that she's somebody who got waived because Tanisha Wright never put her in the right position to be successful. She was never really developed after college, for real. If anything, she became less offensive. She just doesn't even think about shooting or scoring the ball at times. And I hate that because that's probably the thing that would have kept her on the team. But again, maybe she gets picked up somewhere else. Maybe, she goes and plays overseas for a little bit and she comes back. I think what I hate the most about a lot of these waves, though, is that this really might be the last time we see a lot of these players. We may never see some of these players again, because at the same time that the expansion draft is, or not even expansion draft, at the same time that expansion is so great and everything, what's to stop any new expansion team from, waiving their picks that they have and going and getting some players overseas? Again, I have no problem with players overseas. I like the idea of them getting the opportunity to come over here and play. And at the same time, there are some players that were drafted in previous seasons that people were like, they just need a chance. They just need a chance. And they're never going to get that chance for real. If the talent is only getting better and better as the years are going, and then, you go and pick your players that are already in the WNBA and playing well, these players, a lot of them, we may never see them ever again that might have just been it. Maybe they get invited to a training camp every now and then, every few years, and they never really make a roster. And that sucks, because the whole point of this was to get the people who, didn't make teams or didn't make rosters, got waived because there wasn't enough space. The whole point of the expansion was to be able to have a spot for them. And now it's kind of damn, there's no spot nowhere. That's kind of crazy. So I'm kind of pressed with the WNBA right now. Obviously, that's why we need the CBA and for them to expand rosters and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of pissed off. It doesn't seem like the expansion is really gonna do anything for me right now. What is that gonna do for me? What have you done for me lately? And right now, it's nothing. The people who were playing well when given the opportunity didn't even get to stay on the roster. So who's to say, what's the, you know what I'm saying? Low key, I'm thinking what's the point? You can go out there and give it your all, and then damn, team was we're gonna pass, and then you never get a chance again. I mean, that's just the way life is. But damn, I thought this was supposed to be helping the situation. But that's all I'm gonna say on that. I'm just mad right now. It'll be fine. I'm gonna push through. I need to sleep on it. Maybe I need another drink. Who knows? I probably just need to sleep on it, though. I don't think I'm getting another drink. Anyways, they waived Ashley Jones, who was a player who played on the Aces when they won that last championship. And she hasn't really ever been picked up again after that. BG was in an article and said she believes, she should be on a roster somewhere. She comes in, she works hard. Even the coach said, she works hard and everything. And again, people can vouch for you and all the stuff, but, you just may never really get that chance again. And again, that really sucks. But yeah, Tahina Pow looked really good playing versus the Mystics, and the Fever played great defense, is a good facilitator, and obviously she shot very well, which is something that, we didn't really always get to. Like, we saw flashes of it for college, and again, I don't watch a ton of college games, but like when I would watch for like the tournament and everything, like last year and then this year, I liked what I saw from her. So, I'm happy that she found a home here, won the dream, and, I'm excited to see what she's able to do this season. Lastly, we have the Liberty. I'm really not even going to talk about this team for real like that, because the Liberty, how much it seems unfair. Like, I'm not going to say they're about to repeat, but like, I'm kind of annoyed, and I'm really ready for like the CBA stuff to go down and for them players to leave some of these teams and go to other places, because I just need like the talent to be spread out a little more, because right now it's not giving me even. It's giving very top heavy right now, which is fine. But at the end of the day, I would really like to be able to like turn on the TV and really see like a really great competition, not like sometimes in certain matchups seeing somebody really struggle and somebody else just take the cake. That's not fun. That's not fun for me. So, for the Liberty, Benajelani Hamilton, her contract's been suspended, but something that's really cool is that Unrivaled has some insurance. And so because she was hurt during her time with Unrivaled, she's going to be like, her WNBA salary is going to be covered for the season, which again, like there are some things about Unrivaled that I think like the WNBA is going to have to really like step up. Like they're going to have to lock in, and I don't really know what the numbers are going to look like after this, but there's going to be some big changes here, and it's going to be the reason that, some star players will have to leave some teams and really spread the wealth a little bit. So, yeah, Benajelani Hamilton is going to be out for the season. But, they have Marina Johannes, who played really great the other day. I forgot what game that was. I think it was versus Connecticut. She shot well. And then you have Leonie Phoebish coming back, and she shot lights out last season. You have Jonquel Jones, and you have Brianna Stewart, and you have Sabrina, and oh my gosh, who's the other person? You have Natasha Cloud. So it's definitely going to be an interesting season. Oh yeah, and now I guess we can get into my list. Now, I will say this. This is my list, but I have like one caveat. Sorry, I gotta straighten the paper out. At number 1, my seedings right now, and this is like my post-preseason, and then maybe I'll do one like 2 weeks after the season's over, and that'll be like my final. So I had like 3 iterations of it. I had like the pre-draft iteration, and then I have the post-preseason iteration, and then I'll have the like after 2 weeks I watched all the games and I watched the teams, and these are my thoughts, okay? And then that'll be that next one will be like my final, like like that one's the one I'm locking in, and we'll see how close I was to being right at the end of the season. So at number 1, I have the New York Liberty for obvious reasons. I unfortunately have to respect the fact that they won a chip last year and that they have a bunch of talent on this team, which again almost seems unfair. It makes them very unlikable for me. Next, I have the Aces. I was gonna put the Lynx, but again, I think with Xanda Lassini being gone, I think that it's not that that's the only reason I'm not putting them at 2, but again, the offensive thing is really going to be a point of emphasis for me. After the 2 weeks, maybe I'll rank them higher, but I just right now, somebody's going to have to help Nafisa, and I'm interested to see who's going to be. Carly Samuelson's there. I'm interested to see how she fits into the offense. I need to see if Bridget Carlton is going to continue to not be hesitant with her shot. I need to see, is Kayla McBride coming back? What is Courtney Williams giving me? I need to see some things. I need to see, is Diamond Miller, what are we on? I need to see what the vibe is. Which rookies are we keeping? How are the rookies, giving us minutes? Are the rookies playing? I need to see. I need to see what the vibe is. So right now I'm going to go aces because at the end of that's Asia Wilson. Jackie looks really great. Chelsea is definitely facilitating. She's the point guard, but also she's being more offensive. So, and then Jewel, I think Jewel just has to, come to the party. And I think that the Aces are going to they already look better defensively. So I think the Aces have definitely worked on some points of concern that I had last season. So at the 1, like I said, we have the Liberty. At the 2, we have the Aces. At the 3, we have the Lynx for the reasons that I mentioned. I obviously still respect the fact that they are the ones who went to the finals and they're one of my favorite teams, but I'm trying to be less biased, okay? I'm trying to be real analytical, okay? I'm really trying here. Anyways, if I had it my way, I put the New York Liberty at the bottom, but I have to be serious. Anyways, next up, I have the Storm. Again, like I said, I think this team has really made a lot of changes compared to last season, where they needed help was really just like that perimeter shooting. Like, where's offense coming from if it's not coming from Skylar or Nneka? Like, we needed a backup for Ezzy, and I think that Leah Rue is going to do really well there. Obviously, you have Lexi Brown, you have Alicia Clark. The defense has never been in question to me. It's been about the offense. And again, having Gabby Williams already there for the entirety of the season and not really having to try to figure out where she fits in later on, I like it a lot. Next up, I have, and this is one that's kind of tough for me. I think that these 3 are like fluctuating. I have the Fever, but I had the Dream initially. But when I think about it, like when I thought about the Fever's matchup versus the Dream, again, this is just preseason, but when I think about like the Fever, I'm thinking about Sophie Cunningham, who is more of a reliable scorer. I'm thinking about Kelsey Mitchell. I'm thinking about if Natasha Howard is able to really, let the game come to her and contribute. I'm thinking about, is Dewana Bonner, making more shots. I'm thinking about Lexi Hull. I'm thinking about a lot of things. And I think that the Fever could be better than the Dream because while the bigs on the Dream are good, it's still coming down to, are the Dream guards consistent? And I don't know that yet, So I'm going to go Fever. And then the Dream and the Sky. Like, it's those 3 for me. Because I don't fully know what it looks like yet. And so I'm going to wait on it. But those 3 in there, like, that's the dicey half. And then like I have like clear people who are like up at the top. And then I have clear people in the middle. And then I have the people who are going to be at the bottom. Okay. So I think I'm going to go Fever. I'm going to go Sky and then Dream. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And the Sky, I kind of want them, like, I have the Dream and Fever kind of interchangeable and the Sky in the middle just because I feel like the Sky are going to do something pretty decent this year, but it's also like, I need to see it. Like, they're going to be better than they were last season, but I don't think that they're like up there with like top contenders. Like, it's those 3. Those 3 are just really dicey for me. Anyways, after those 3, I have the more bottom tier, the bottom half, the back half of the 6. Okay, I have the Sparks, which honestly, Sparks and Wings, that's so tough. That's so tough for me. But I'm going to go Sparks just because I feel like the Sparks bigs are kind of bought into their role. So I'm going to go Sparks, and then I'm going to go Wings, just because I like Paige, I like Arike, I like Dejanay, but they're small, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on the guards, and I'm going to have to put them in the back half. Then I have the Mercury, and honestly, yeah, I feel good about that. The Mercury, just because, again, Kalia Copper has to be perfect, and I don't know if it's fair to put all of that weight on her. I don't know how Satu's going to look for the entirety of the season, and AT's going to do her thing, but it's not going to be 20 and 10. So I'm going to be realistic, because I don't think that the coach is going to make the proper adjustment throughout the season. He's so stuck on those threes. So I'm going to put them there. And then I have the Mystics, just because they're so young, but I think they're scrappy, and I think that they would be better than... I think the Mystics will win more games than the Sun. But also, low-key, I wouldn't be surprised if the Sun were able to win more games because they have Marina and because they have Tina. Whereas the Mystics, they're just super young. So, low-key, I'm going to go Mercury, Sun, Mystics. I think Kiki Ariafin could definitely figure things out. Again, I think this team looks different with Aaliyah Edwards and Shakira Austin, and Sonia Citron is going to be great. I would really like to see the Mystics pick up another point guard, though. Then, lastly, the Valkyrie, because fuck the Valkyrie. Okay, yeah. I feel good about that. Well, guys, I gave you my best. I'm going to edit this, and hopefully it'll be up by like noon today. I guess we'll find out at noon. But yeah, if you guys again want to go and check out my other social media and stuff, my TikTok, I'm very active over there. I go live. We talk about WNBA stuff throughout the week, and then obviously I have this podcast, and then I also do other content like watching games, and just kind of giving my like thoughts throughout the season and stuff, and just like kind of goofing off, answering people's questions that they have. Over there, just having jokes. I just be over there yapping. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. Obviously, this podcast is always here. I'm going to be here every week. Again, I'm deciding which day I'm going to look at the calendar. There's like a lot of games. I think I actually, there's 40 games in May. And then there's going to be 68 in June. There's going to be 66 games in July. 84 games in August, and 29 games in September. And then there's the Commissioner's Cup game that isn't yet scheduled. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of basketball. I'm excited. I'm just really excited. Also, Timmy Fagbinlay, I forgot to mention her. My bad. She looked really good for the Valkyries. Again, it doesn't matter because they're going to be trashed, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. Let me think. I said social media. Come back next week. Like and subscribe if you're still here. Obviously, I really appreciate it. Follow me on, the stuff. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Please feel free to get in the comments. Share with me your seedings if you have them. Share with me your thoughts. If you think I'm wrong about some things, please do that. Again, I always read the comments. I might not always respond, but I definitely always read them. So yeah, or if you really want me to respond to something, go on TikTok, comment there. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.